Hey guys, I'm so excited to do this video for you guys today. I'm going to be going old school. We're going to go outside and take a walk. I used to do videos with you guys all the time where I would just take you for a walk around my neighborhood and talk with you, and I haven't done that in a while, primarily because my toddler runs and I have to keep my eyes on him 100% of the time now. I can't just push him in the stroller, so he's not with me today. So I'm going to take you guys outside to get some vitamin D while I share with you about my experience doing intermittent fasting. So let's go outside. First of all, I want to share with you guys why I chose to do intermittent fasting. I did not choose to do intermittent fasting for weight loss, really, and thank goodness, because I didn't lose any. It was awful. But I did do intermittent fasting for religious purposes. Every year at the beginning of the year, I dedicate a certain amount of time to fasting and prayer. And I'm on a certain medication, so I can't just fast completely where I'm not eating for a couple of days at a time. So I chose intermittent fasting. I really feel it's important to give God the very first part of my year, listening to what He wants for my life, what direction He has me going, and where's my focus this year. And I can hear more clearly when I'm devoting the time that I would typically be devoting to eating to Him and listening. So that's my reasoning behind it. Whether you agree with me or not is not the point. I'm just sharing with you why I was doing it, so you kind of have a little context. In case you're wondering, like, was I trying that for weight loss and what in the world? Because it's completely against everything that I really talk about here on this channel, which is really eating pretty regularly and not starving yourself. And to some degree, intermittent fasting seemed a little bit like starving myself. So let me tell you what my typical day looked like on intermittent fasting schedule. I did the 16-8 schedule, which meant that I was not eating for 16 hours and then I would eat for 8 hours. So instead of waking up in the morning and having my coffee and a really healthy, nutritious breakfast, and then eating a little something, mid-morning, and then eating lunch, and then a little something mid-afternoon, and then eating supper, I was going straight through the day with nothing but a cup of coffee, maybe two if I had to, and water. And that was it. And then I would get to supper and I would eat. And then I would eat until I went to bed. And typically when somebody is doing intermittent fasting like that as a lifestyle, they are going to have a plan for what they're going to be eating in their eating window. They're going to be choosing healthier options. They're not going to probably be eating pizza, chips, cookies, cake, candies, anything that they can get their hands on, like I did. They've probably got a plan, and they probably stuck to their plan. I'm sure it works for a lot of people, but it did not work for me. And I realized in this process that I still have a lot of strongholds in my mind when it comes to food and when it comes to what I think about food. And what I mean by that, what I mean by like strongholds in my mind about food, is just basically the unhealthy ways that I think about food still, and some mindsets that I have about myself. I definitely realize I have a scarcity mentality, and I have a really low level of self-control when it comes to food when I'm really hungry. And I think that's pretty normal, that second one there. But with the scarcity mentality, when I hadn't eaten all day long, I felt the need to fill myself with anything and everything that I could, like until I felt horrible, because I kept thinking I'm not going to get to eat for a long time. Even though it was only for 16 hours and some of that was going to be for me sleeping, I still felt like I wasn't going to have enough. So that scarcity mentality caused me to overeat and hoard food and try to store it up in my body like a bear before hibernation. And I didn't realize I still battled with that to some degree. And that comes from using diets that were really excessive and borderline starvation diets. I kind of had this conditioning in my mind that I thought I had overcome. And this process really helped me realize that I haven't quite overcome that part that I've battled with as far as an unhealthy mindset when it comes to food and dieting and things like that. So what I would do is not eat all day long, so that when it came time to eat, my 8-hour eating window, I would eat so much I would just be bloated and full and miserable, and I would not make wise choices. Like, I was not choosing to eat healthy options for some reason, like food that fueled my body. I ended up gaining a lot of weight during that process. So I spent a lot of time losing weight in November and December, and I gained it all back in 21 days. And I ended up gaining about 12 pounds. That's an excessive amount of weight. And I was incredibly angry at myself and went through all the emotions attached to that kind of what I felt like was a failure and defeat. And it actually ended up derailing my whole intention with fasting in the first place, which was to hear from the Lord and seek the Lord, because I was so focused on filling my body, my actual physical body, with food, that it didn't work the way that it was supposed to. And I was really disappointed in myself, and I was really angry at myself because of that. So ultimately, it was just a big failure. I feel like I didn't hear clearly from the Lord. I gained a ton of weight and not feeling any closer to finding like the direction for my life for the year. At that point, I just had to take a step back and do an assessment and assess what is happening. Why did this happen? What happened? And that's what I did. So when I found out, like when I really sat down and thought about it and kind of put pen to paper and journaled out some things, I learned these things about myself that I thought I had kind of overcame in the process of losing some weight last year and being on a weight loss journey for almost a year now. But I still have a lot to learn. So I wanted to share that experience with you guys, because I don't ever want you to find me here on this platform and think, she's got it all together and I'm going to follow her because she knows exactly what she's doing. Because I don't always know exactly what I'm doing. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to be obedient to what God has me doing in this season of my life and going through the process of change, which is just that. It's a process. And so I don't have all the answers all the time, but I will always share with you guys my experiences and what I'm learning in the process, and always encourage you guys that everyone's journey is so unique to them. We have to just find what works for us and do that. So there's a lot of information out there that's going to tell us exactly what we should do. And we know, we've been hearing it our whole lives since we were in school and we were learning the food pyramid, like the healthier choices versus the choices you should probably not make as often, like eating cake. Like, we know those things, but it just comes down to what we think about, how we view, our situations and how we view the world around us, and just our habits. So it really has a lot to do with a lot of different things. And that's what I'm learning about myself in this process. So anytime I learn something that I feel like is beneficial for you guys, I'm going to share that with you. And anytime I have a failure and things just kind of don't work out very well for me, I'm going to share that with you too. So what I learned during this whole process of intermittent fasting is just that I cannot do it. I can't. It's just not good for me mentally, and it's definitely not good for me physically. Okay, my walk's all done. I just wanted to finish sharing with you guys what happened after I stopped intermittent fasting. I went right back to eating the way that I was eating before, which was just frequent meals and eating breakfast and lunch and dinner, and then 2 small snacks in between those larger meals, and not eating at night, because anytime I start eating at night, I gain weight. It just happens every single time because I don't choose to eat carrots at night. I choose to eat chips. But once I started eating those frequent meals, the weight dropped really quickly. It only took me like 5 weeks to get that 12 pounds off again. So I know that that wasn't all fat that I gained. I know that. I didn't go up a whole pant size or anything like that during the process. It was just bloating. I had a lot of excess sodium from all the processed food. What that said to me was a couple of different things. It just confirmed that the DNA fitness test that I took and I shared with you guys about was accurate when it said that I need to eat small, frequent meals because that's what my body needs. And I just proved that to be correct. I wasn't trying exactly to disprove it, but it ultimately did prove that it was the right choice for my body to eat small, frequent meals. It keeps me from feeling deprived. It keeps me from overeating, and it helps to keep me from making poor choices. I'm not feeling like decision fatigue by the end of the day where I haven't eaten all day and I just don't care. So I wanted to share with you guys that experience because I wanted to encourage you, see what works for you. We know the right things to do. We know the right choices to make, but it's just a matter of finding what works for you overall. And obviously it's beneficial for everyone to not eat fast food and to not sit and eat a pint of ice cream every night. We know those things aren't beneficial, but I'm talking about the schedule of eating that your body needs to be on, what's going to fit into your lifestyle. And just know that, you guys, I am right there with you in this journey. I am still on a weight loss journey. I still am struggling to get these last 20 pounds off that I have to lose. I'm going to totally do it. It's just a matter of learning some things about myself along the way, learning to be consistent, learning to overcome the mental hurdles that come and those like valleys that we get into, especially when life is rough and things are going on around us that can just kind of distract us from our new path or the path that we're trying to put in place. I get it. There's things that can come up that is going to try to derail us from our healthy eating habits or whatever it is that we chose to do in life, whether it's food or not. There's always going to be something that's going to come up and we have to overcome that, and we have to kind of get through in order to continue on our way. I'd love to hear if you guys are on an intermittent fasting diet, if you've ever tried it. Let me know in the comment section below what your experience has been and what you found helpful for you. I do believe it's a good thing for some people to do if they can stick to eating healthy, nutritious meals during their eating window. It's definitely beneficial, but I did not do that. I didn't do it right, but obviously it's not really good for my body either because it's not good for my mind. And if it's not good for my mind, it's not good for my body. So you guys let me know about your experience in the comment section below. I would really like to hear about those, good or bad or in between. And you guys could encourage the other subscribers that are hanging out here on my channel and read through the comments too, to let them know maybe if it's something for them to try or not, which leads me to say, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love for you guys to go ahead and do that today. On this channel, I just share my experiences and just some thoughts about healthy living from the inside out, from what we put into our mind to what we put into our mouth. So you guys go ahead and click that subscribe button and join my subscriber community. I would love to have you. But until next week, bye.
Look to the left.